What if I told you that your brain is literally conspiring against you? That every time you try to become better, more disciplined, more productive, your own mind is working overtime to keep you exactly where you are. Sounds crazy, right? Like some conspiracy theory nonsense. Disclaimer: this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It's based on personal experience and research, and it's not medical or psychological advice. But here's the thing, it's not a theory, it's neuroscience. And 2 years ago, when I figured this out, it changed everything. 2 years ago, I was scrolling TikTok until 2 a.m., skipping workouts, and saying yes to things I didn't even want to do. Today, I'm the person I used to envy on social media. And no, it wasn't willpower, it wasn't motivation, it wasn't even discipline. I literally hacked my own brain, and I'm about to show you exactly how I did it. Picture this guy. It's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night. He's lying in bed, phone in hand, telling himself he'll just check TikTok for 5 minutes. Fast forward 3 hours. It's 2 a.m. His eyes are burning. He's got work tomorrow. He's watched 17 videos about productivity hacks, ironically, while completely destroying his own productivity for the next day. That guy was me, and honestly, maybe that guy is you too. 2 years ago, I was chronically exhausted. Not just physically tired, but mentally drained. You know that feeling when you wake up already defeated, when you look at your to-do list and feel this heavy weight in your chest before you even start. I had bought gym memberships I never used. I had habit tracker apps with beautiful streaks that would last exactly 4 days before crashing back to zero. I had a bookshelf full of self-improvement books that I'd started but never finished. The worst part wasn't even the failure. It was the story I was telling myself about the failure. I'm just not a disciplined person. I don't have what it takes. Some people are just built different. And here's what's crazy. I genuinely believed this story. It wasn't just self-doubt. It felt like scientific fact. Like I had some genetic mutation that made me incapable of following through on anything. But then something happened that cracked this whole thing wide open. I was reading Atomic Habits by James Clear for probably the 3rd time, when I came across this one sentence that hit me like a freight train. Every action is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Now, I'd read that sentence before, multiple times, but this time something clicked. I realized my brain wasn't resisting change because I was lazy or weak-willed. My brain was protecting an old identity. Think about it this way. Your brain is basically a survival machine. Its number one job is to keep you alive. And one of the ways it does this is by creating predictable patterns. If you've been the undisciplined person for years, your brain sees discipline as a threat to your identity. It's like, wait, hold up, we've been the person who gives up for 25 years. This new behavior doesn't match our data. This must be dangerous. Abort mission. So I started researching how the brain actually processes reality. And what I found was absolutely mind-blowing. There's this thing called predictive processing in cognitive science. Basically, your brain doesn't just passively observe the world. It actively filters reality to match what it already believes about you. It's like having a biased news feed inside your head. If your internal story is, "I suck at follow-through," your brain literally highlights every piece of evidence that supports this belief and ignores evidence to the contrary. You could complete 9 tasks and fail on one, and your brain will focus on the failure. Why? Because it matches your existing story. But here's the glitch in the matrix. If you can feed your brain a new story and back it up with consistent action, it starts scanning for that instead. So I decided to run an experiment. I was going to psyop my own brain. Now, I didn't go crazy with this. I didn't stand in the mirror saying, "I'm the most disciplined person alive," while eating pizza and binge-watching Netflix. That's just delusion. Instead, I started building what I call identity anchors. Small actions that confirmed the story I wanted to believe. I didn't say, "I'm a beast in the gym." I just did 10 push-ups and logged it in my phone. I didn't say, "I'm the next great reader." I just read for 10 minutes a day and underlined one good quote. I didn't say, "I'm super productive." I just started each day with one focused task before checking my phone. Every single action became data, and here's the beautiful thing about data: your brain can't argue with it. The first week was weird. I felt like I was playing pretend, like I was putting on a costume of a disciplined person. But something started happening around day 10. I began looking forward to my tiny wins, not because they were impressive, but because they were proof. I remember the exact moment when I realized this was working. I was at a coffee shop, and instead of immediately pulling out my phone, I automatically reached for the book in my bag, without thinking about it. It had become natural. That's when I knew the identity was shifting. But I didn't stop there. I started studying the science behind this transformation, and I discovered these incredible tools that accelerated everything. First, I changed my tracking system. Instead of tracking streaks, I started tracking completions. The difference is huge. With streaks, one bad day destroys everything. With completions, every single win counts, even if there are gaps. Second, I started creating what I call follow-through proof. This sounds silly, but I began finishing random things just to prove to my brain that I was someone who followed through. I finished podcast series. I completed online courses. I even finished books I wasn't that into just for the data. Third, I started priming my brain every morning. I would script out my ideal day out loud while making coffee. Not just the tasks, but how I wanted to feel, how I wanted to show up, who I wanted to be that day. Fourth, I completely changed my inputs. I unfollowed everyone on social media who didn't live the way I wanted to live. I stopped consuming content from people who were stuck in victim mode or constantly complaining. Instead, I curated a feed of people who embodied the traits I was building. Fifth, visual cues became everything. I made my gym gear visible and easy to access. I put books on my nightstand instead of leaving my phone there. I designed my environment to support the identity I was building. And finally, I had to design new dopamine loops. This was the hardest part. I had to delete TikTok. Yes, really. Because every time I got that quick dopamine hit from scrolling, it made the slower, more meaningful dopamine from reading or working out less satisfying by comparison. Now I need to share with you the specific resources that absolutely changed my life. Because ideas are great, but you need the right fuel to power this transformation. Atomic Habits by James Clear was obviously the foundation. But what most people miss about this book is the identity-based habit model. Clear doesn't just tell you to build habits. He shows you how to become the type of person who does those habits naturally. After reading this, I stopped trying to fix myself and started proving that I already had discipline. The Mountain is You by Brianna Wiest completely rewired how I understood self-sabotage. If you've ever felt stuck and couldn't explain why, this book will break you open. Wiest dives deep into how we unconsciously sabotage ourselves to protect old identities. Reading this felt like someone was reading my mind. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins showed me what real mental toughness looks like. But it's not just about being tough. Goggins literally rewired his brain through action. His cookie jar method, where you collect proof of your resilience from past wins, helped me build confidence from small victories. I used to think I wasn't built like Goggins. This book showed me that nobody is built that way. You build yourself. But here's where things got really interesting. I discovered this app called BeFreed that my friend recommended. It's a smart reading app developed by scientists from Columbia University. What makes it different is that it lets you customize how deep you want to go with each book. You can do 10-minute summaries, 20-minute deep dives, or full 40-minute explorations. But the game changer was the AI host feature. You can customize the voice and tone of your reading companion. I set mine to have this smooth, almost hypnotic voice, like Samantha from the movie Her. It sounds weird, but it made learning genuinely addictive. The app builds a personalized learning roadmap based on your life situation, your struggles, your goals, and even how your brain processes information. I was crushing books on discipline, psychology, behavioral economics, even investing while walking to work or making coffee. Here's what blew my mind. I went from someone who couldn't focus on a book for 10 minutes to someone who was genuinely addicted to learning. The app gave me the same dopamine hit as scrolling social media, but instead of mind-numbing content, I was absorbing life-changing knowledge. I started following Huberman Lab religiously. Dr. Andrew Huberman shares science-backed protocols for rewiring your brain for focus, discipline, and energy. His research on dopamine completely changed how I approached my morning routine. I implemented his cold exposure protocol, his NSDR non-sleep deep rest technique, and his specific gym routine timing. It was like having a neuroscientist as a personal coach. And Modern Wisdom with Williamson became my go-to podcast. Williamson interviews incredible thinkers like Naval Ravikant, Cal Newport, and Jordan Peterson. These aren't surface-level conversations. They go deep into psychology, self-mastery, and the science of discipline. I started listening while lifting weights or meal prepping, and every episode left me with some kind of mental upgrade. The transformation didn't happen overnight, but when it hit hard. Within 3 months, I was reading a book every week. Not because I was forcing myself, but because I genuinely craved the learning. Within 6 months, I was in the best shape of my life. Not because I was grinding through brutal workouts, but because I had become someone who prioritized his health. Within a year, my productivity had skyrocketed. Not because I was using more apps or hacks, but because I had rewired my relationship with focus and deep work. But the craziest part, none of it felt hard anymore. When your identity aligns with your actions, everything becomes effortless. You stop fighting against yourself and start working with yourself. I used to scroll TikTok to escape from myself. Now I consume content to evolve myself. I used to dread going to the gym because it felt like punishment. Now I look forward to it because it's evidence that I'm someone who takes care of himself. I used to start projects and abandon them after a few days. Now I finish what I start because that's what people like me do. Here's what I want you to understand. You're not broken, you're not lazy, you don't lack willpower or discipline. You're just running outdated software. Your brain is operating from old programming that doesn't match who you want to become. And the beautiful thing is, you can update that programming. But you have to be strategic about it. You can't just think your way into a new identity. You have to act your way into it. Start small, ridiculously small. If you want to become someone who read for 5 minutes. If you want to become someone who works out, do 5 push-ups. If you want to become more productive, complete 1 small task before checking your phone. Every tiny action is data. Every small win is proof. And your brain will start scanning for evidence that supports this new story about who you are. Change your inputs. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about yourself. Follow people who embody the traits you're building. Listen to podcasts that expand your mind instead of shrinking it. Design your environment to support your new identity. Make the good behaviors easier and the bad behaviors harder. And be patient with the process. Your brain has been running the old story for years, maybe decades. It's going to take time to install the new software. But I promise you this, once that identity flips, once your brain starts working for you instead of against you, everything changes. You stop needing motivation because you have something better. You have identity. You stop relying on willpower because you have something stronger. You have proof. And you stop fighting against yourself because you finally understand how to work with your own psychology. So here's what I want you to do right now. Think about the person you want to become. Not the goals you want to achieve, but the type of person you want to be. Do you want to be someone who reads, someone who's disciplined, someone who follows through, someone who takes care of their health, someone who's constantly learning and growing? Now think of the smallest possible action that person would take today. Not tomorrow, not Monday, today. And then do it. Log it, celebrate it, let it be data. Because that tiny action isn't just a task you completed, it's a vote for the type of person you're becoming. And if you keep voting consistently, eventually your brain will get the message. It'll stop fighting you and start helping you. It'll stop protecting the old identity and start building the new one. And one day, probably sooner than you think, You'll wake up and realize you've become the person you used to envy. The person you thought you could never be. The person who was inside you all along, just waiting for the right story to bring them to life. Your brain isn't your enemy, it's your most powerful ally. You just need to teach it which team it's on. You just took a small step toward transforming your brain. Smash that like button and subscribe so we can keep leveling up together.